in the Zoloft to get your head right.
Well, what's up, Head Right homies? Welcome to the Zoloft, your Head Right hangout. I am your humble host, Zoe, Republican reject, clown prince, conservative outcast, and what the crap? I guess I just wanted to hear that song again. You know how I do, man. I'm clumsy. It's Monday, dang it. I'm gonna make some mistakes. Zoe, you make mistakes like every day of the week. I know, but Monday is like exceptional, and not only that. No. The rule is I can tell people that I'm fasting, right? I can tell people that I'm fasting. I just can't be like all butthurt about it, right? I can't be like all, I'm so hungry and I'm weak and my mind is just not all there. And be like all Eeyore and stuff like that, right? Hungry. But no, it's like, yeah, I'm fasting. That's no excuse though, Zoe. It's like, you're gonna fast, man. You still gotta be ready to be on top of your game, man. I know. But at any rate, it's Monday. I hope you guys' week is already off to a good start. Hope you guys had a groovy Monday, despite like the notion about Monday being like the suckiest day of the week. I hope y'all's was really groovy. All right, let's get into the groove here. Yeah, Zoe, let's do that. Let me find my page where I'm supposed to be looking at my articles. As you guys can see, I'm so very well prepared as usual. This is why like people are like, hey, Zoe, how come you didn't go to like on, you could have been on like Fox News or something like that. It's like, nah, man, I'm too scatterbrained for that.
Not true.
It's like
you are ADD, but you do well.
It's like the hit time. It's like this right here. I'd be still like, what? I'm not done with my nachos, man. I'm not done. Don't hit the play button yet. We're live, so I'd be like Bill O'Reilly. What? We'll do it live. Let me finish my beep nachos in there. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna try to talk about Elon Musk breaks silence over after conservative influencer Ashley St. Clair claims she gave birth to his 13th child. Wow. It's like Elon Musk is like basically breeding his own staff or something.
Right.
I mean, kids, them employees. He gonna be having them like working in different places and stuff. Let me see. Oh, well, I guess, is this like the same thing, the Whore of Babylon? No.
It's more about Ashley St. Clair and the Babylon Bee. And you don't have to read that one. I can give you a couple factlets from it.
The Babylon Bee hoe. All right. Delta plane arriving from Minneapolis crashes in Toronto, flips upside down. Was the pilot like pulling a Sullivan or a Sully? Was he pulling a Sully or something like that? All right, so at least 8 people injured. Sounds like nobody died. That's good. Okay. Trump administration discusses hundreds of FAA employees amid plane crash. He's gonna go in there and fire. He's gonna pull a Reagan. You're fired. Let's see. Elon Musk, DOGE. DOGE team uncovers over 25 million people, ages 100 plus and over. No, I didn't just say that.
What did you say?
100 plus and over. All right, 100 over or 100 plus, whichever one you want to say, in Social Security database. Some older than the Constitution. Oh, okay. There's a lot of, according to Elon, there's a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. Dude, you don't even have to be over 100 years old to be a vampire. If you're a Democrat, you already got it. It's It's in the blood, no pun intended, man. They seem to have this aversion to the sun, since they think that we're going to be, destroyed by global warming.
That's true.
The sun, right? The sun's going to boil us alive. In global boiling or whichever, so they got this aversion to the sun.
Yes.
They can't stand Christianity, so they can't stand crosses.
Wow, there's a lot of similarities
Their
here.
policies are totally parasitic.
Yeah.
So it's like they're flipping bloodsuckers, right? It's like, well, you seriously gonna tax me for that?
They want us to all live in the pod and eat bugs.
Yeah. That's Democrats they already kind of have this vampiric disposition about them. You don't have to be over 100 or past 120 to be a vampire if you're a Democrat, and how they rigged Social Security and so on. So, and then we got RFK Jr. to address spiritual crisis in America. Spiritual crisis. Let's see. And,
were you trying to imitate his voice?
I was gonna. I caught myself like, man, I don't want to do that. I shouldn't do that. I don't know what's going on with her. It just kind of like when I started to, it just started to come out more like Jimmy Stewart or something. It's like, Zoe, are you that old? No.
Are you a vampire?
I know, I was going to be this. No, You see that? Well, I guess you can't. I was going to say, I got a cross hanging back there, right? It's like, it's itching. It itches. No. Let's see. Video. Kelsey Grammer shares Jesus with old Cheers bar buddies in incredible interview. All right. Modern day Jonah. Whale gobbles up Kayaker on video, then spits him back out. Still alive, man. He's a vegan. All right, so actually no. If he was a vegan, I guess he'd be more delicious. They're. I think a humpback whale would be a pescatarian.
They eat krill, whatever that is.
Yes, that is a form of. It's like a small shrimp, isn't it? Yeah, a humpback whale is more of a. It's not a vegetarian or herbivore. It's more of a pescatarian diet. Yeah.
Yummy.
Let's see. And want to be a racist woke person? Get ahead. Start with this tip from the New York Times. All right. I don't need any tips from the New York Times how to be anti-racist or whichever. I'm already pretty good at it. Let's see. All right, so let's get on here. Let's get on going with the. Get on going, man. I'm speaking a lot of redundancies here, man. I gotta stop that. Let's open up New York Post here. That's just where the article is from, y'all. I'm sorry, I don't really read the New York Post. And once again, thank you guys so much if you're tuning in on the Instagrams or if you're tuning in on the YouTubes and tuning in on bronzesilvermedia.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are the grooviest. Let's see. Let's crack this story open. Elon Musk broke his silence a day after conservative influencer Ashley St. Clair claimed she gave birth to his baby 5 months ago. And so I reckon one of the things that we'll get into is, at least she didn't abort the baby, right? We got to look for the silver lining in this stuff, right? Look for the good. Look for the good. I guess we'll talk about stuff like that. Responded to a post that suggested she plotted for half a decade to have his child. Okay, well, now one would say, hey, wasn't she like, how old is she now? 26?
26.
Okay. Well.
So she says.
Oh, so so there's no proof that she's actually 26?
Not that I've seen.
Well, she was like on, she was on she OnlyFans or what did she do?
She had her own, sex laptop. I don't know if it was I don't think it was on OnlyFans. It was like her own website or something.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. I don't mean to misplatform you, saying that you're related. But, was she like doing some stuff at like 15, like selling some pictures?
Yes, she was.
Okay. Now,
the article says nudes. But I thought it was, not that this is any better, but herself in underwear, sexy underwear shots when she was 15. And she was selling them to make money.
When was she doing that?
Huh?
When was she doing that?
When she was 15.
Yeah, no, but what year was she like 15?
26 minus 15, I don't know, 23.
We can't do
14?
Yeah, and her math skills are better than mine. Yeah.
Maybe. Wait, no, she would have been 16 in 2010. So we're talking 2009? 2000.
I don't know.
2009, 2008?
Help us out with that. Because the reason why I'm asking is because how old was she when she started having this relationship with Elon?
Oh, 25 or 26.
Okay. Because she, and the reason why I'm saying that, y'all, is because I've seen people like, I've seen where people are talking about, well, how old was she? No, she was plotting this.
Because that tweet from Milo Yiannopoulos was a tweet she was responding to 10 years ago when she was 16.
Okay. So now this is something that she was plotting. I don't know if if they knew each other back then. It's just something that she was plotting. So I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't know each other.
Okay.
She was responding to somebody who was like, gee, he's got a lot of baby mamas. And
for real.
She was like, yeah, he can't keep a woman or something like that.
She reminds me of when I used to live in Venice Beach and I'm trying to find, members for my band. So, in LA, there's lots of, classifieds for, you're trying to find musicians for your band and stuff like that. Tons of classifieds, and I could hardly ever find anybody. But I'd be scanning through those. But intermittently, they throw in things like while you're trying to find like a guitar player or a bass player, you'd like see an ad slipped in there or something like, I just went jogging. And my panties are, and I'm selling the panties that I went jogging in.
Ew.
Would you like? It's like you see stuff like that. That's how I know about it, because that stuff it's not because I went looking for that stuff, it's because it'd be mixed in between, the classified.
I remember those publications too.
Right. So Ashley St. Clair reminds me of girls who would do stuff like that.
Yes, well, because she is.
Yeah, all right, so if they were even, whatever they were. Anyway, to continue with this ad here. Ashley St. Clair, 26, alleged on Friday she and Musk share a 5-month-old child. Love child! Get some Diana Ross. That's some Diana Ross. Ashley and Elon have been privately working towards the creation of an agreement. Interesting choice of word, creation of an agreement. I guess, anyway, you guys know what I'm trying to say here. You know the thing. Yep.
Interesting. So I just, I wanted, she ran sex laptop. It was on Twitter.
Okay, on the Twitters. I guess back when it was Twitter. An agreement raising her child for some time. Brian Glickich, the author's rep, wrote in an X post. It's disappointing that a tabloid reporter who repeatedly ambushed Ashley and her family made it impossible to complete the process confidentially. We are waiting for Elon to publicly acknowledge his parental role with Ashley. Hey, maybe Elon and Dave Grohl can get together. And, well, David Grohl's situation a little bit. Dave Grohl was married. Elon Musk isn't married in this situation. I know that makes it so much better. But anyway, okay, you guys get the gist of it, man. Let me break script here for a second. Okay, so this girl, Ashley St. Can we just call her Ashley Clair?
Right.
Okay, so attractive young lady, right? She's pretty. Here's the problem. You're doing pretty wrong. All right, it's like you got the good looks, but you don't use them the good way. You know what I'm saying? What you're doing with your beauty is ugly.
Yeah.
All right, it's straight up ugly what you're doing, and it's, what's even worse is that people like this girl are darlings to mainstream Republicans. She's a darling.
Absolutely.
She's a darling to them. And it just goes to once again to show that the so-called party of standards and values don't really have any standards and values. You go in here and remember, y'all, just because you disagree with liberals, just because you disagree with Democrats, doesn't make you a conservative. I don't think a lot of mainstream Republican voters understand that. All you got to do is disagree with it, and you get the conservative card. It's like, dude, it doesn't work that way. And more, you're just losing credibility with having, a sense of morals, a true sense of morals that's based on the Word of God Himself. So we got this girl right here, and Elon, same thing. Elon got a whole bunch of like baby mamas.
Like 3 or 4?
Yeah, it's like more than one is enough.
That's true.
You got a cadre of kids. Look, man, that's not how father, because the narrative that's out there is, it's about being a father. You got to be a father to your kids. And you got these images out there. Elon, he's always, making sure he spends time with his kids and stuff like that. That doesn't impress me one bit. That doesn't impress me. We got piles of kids who have, whether they're kids now or have come into adulthood, going back, man, 60 years. The fatherhood isn't the key, man. It's husbands. You got to be a husband first in order of the Lord. You are supposed to be the head of your family. Your kid, Elon, all the money that you got ain't going to make your kids secure. Your kids are going to be just as insecure as all these kids that we got running out there right now. Kids and adults. Okay, coming from being raised by single moms, You know, because the kids don't really see an example of what security actually is. They don't see it. The first example of security that they're really supposed to see is a God-fearing husband, right? Who puts God first, and in that order puts his wife. Is his wife is next in order of importance. Then your children. Your kids need to see that security. Security for your kids shouldn't be how much money you have and the security detail that you have around them. Mm-hmm. The security of your children is supposed to be how you treat your wife. That's the solidarity that your kids need to see. We hadn't seen that in decades, man.
Yeah.
And people, and it's like people don't make the relation. They don't make the correlation. They think that America's just going to be good either if we're economically stable and we got jobs, or America will be secure when we embrace a whole bunch of perversion and we see it as normal. You know, you could have like raise kids as two dads, or raise kids as two moms, or raise kids as one being a cat and the other one being a dog, or whichever. Once again, pride and insecurity are two sides of the same coin, folks. Two sides of the same coin. And these kids are raised up with prideful people. If your relationship busted up, and where you guys can't raise kids, and I can guarantee you the reason why the relationship didn't work is because of one word: pride. Pride is at the root of every divorce. Pride is at the root of every breakup. Okay, and that pride and is once again. It shares the coin with insecurity. And so the kid is going to see prideful people who can't work it out because their pride is in the way. And because, of course, the insecurity is in the way. And what you're going to end up with is an insecure kid trying to work out pride for themselves. And before you know it, your kid's got, your little boy's got pink hair.
Yeah.
Right? Trying to, and hey, listen. I ain't judging, because when I was a teenager, I dyed my hair pink too, right? I had the pink Jerry curl and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I did, because I thought the chicks would like it. Wasn't because I was like, I was trying to be a girl, right? I was trying to hook up with the girls. I don't know. That was like the thing. That's what they were into. So that's what like the girls with baggage were into. You need Jesus to work that stuff out. Right, that's right. We had baggage, right? We had baggage, and it takes the Lord to lighten that load. You know what I'm saying? But at any rate, but these are the people that on the Republican voters they look up to. Elon Musk is like the patron saint to them, and people don't hold him accountable on the right. It's just like, we don't care, just as long as he exposes liberals. And it's like, okay, yeah, while he's doing that, dude, you understand that like his own immorality is being exposed as well. And we're not going to be better, y'all. We're going to end up back where we were or worse if you don't be like, okay, look, this is not cool. Okay, it's like, look, man, I know that we hired you to do certain thing, but listen, if when we're talking about bringing the country together, it's the same thing I say about Trump, the same thing I would say about Elon. You're talking about, oh, we're gonna like you got what's his name, Hexeth.
Oh yeah.
Unity is our strength, right? I agree. So in America, we're gonna talk about uniting 380 million people now? We're at 380 million. We gonna unite in America. And these people gonna lecture us about uniting. Elon can't even unite with one woman and have a family with this woman. He's got different women and kids by different ones. Dude, that's not a good example of unity. You can't even unite with one woman. One. Trump been married like 3 times? Come on, man. It's like it's like the Beatles. Like I said about the Beatles. Beatles, we talk about all you need is love. The 4, you talk about in the world 6.5 billion people at the time. Where are we at? Like 7 billion? I don't know. 8 billion people. All right. Maybe in their time it was like 6 billion people. Talk about all you need is love. The world's just gonna get along, coo-coo-ca-choo, and all that sort of stuff. The 4 of you couldn't get along. All right. Yoko coming in there anyway. So these people, man, I'm just saying, look, it's more, it takes so much more, y'all. It takes so much more than just having a good economy. Good economies don't save people. Having all these jobs don't save. Like how many times I gotta say it? You see these people on these tabloids and on these magazines breaking up, high-powered couples and stuff like that, getting a divorce. The money couldn't keep them together. A good job couldn't keep them together because that's not what it takes. Okay, how long have I been saying this is? I think RFK is just now starting to catch on to this. Yeah, this is a spiritual issue. I'm glad you're picking up on this, RFK. Been saying it for I don't know how long. So with this girl right here, it doesn't seem. It looks to me more like she's just concerned about making some waves, making a name for herself. I'm glad that people are seeing the silver lining. That she's not gonna, the abortion wasn't on the table for this. Yeah. I reckon not. I mean, Elon's a billionaire. It's like, I reckon, she's gonna want to have the kid.
Yeah, it's not a big sacrifice for her.
Yeah, for either party. It's not a big sacrifice.
She's only in a $15,000 a month hotel.
But however. To keep things from being, I guess, awkward, but I reckon, the child support would outweigh any awkwardness as far as that goes, y'all. But for real, I mean, I appreciate people seeing the silver lining in this, but y'all, that's not much of a stretch. And it really doesn't speak to, standards and values that, the mainstream Republicans are, mainstream Republicans don't even stand up for standards and values. That's been going for a while. Republicans, conservatives used to be the parties of standards and values. That hadn't been for a while. Okay? Because the idolatry, all they care about is getting the country's, I guess, economy back, and then we'll be good. That's all it takes. Mm-hmm. The economy, jobs, secure the border, and we'll be good. America will be the greatest country in the world again. Okay. Very low standards. Mm-hmm. If you think that's what it takes to make a great country, that's why we lose in our country. You just as much to blame as the liberals are. So anyway, what else we got here?
While you're looking for the next one, Red Force says he's got a nephew that is in a situation. His mom, my wife's sister, is a narcissist. She got pregnant by some rando, popped out this boy, and she mistreats and neglects him. And me and my wife are probably going to end up raising this boy before too much longer. It infuriates me to no end that this sorry excuse for a mother is such a dumpster fire of a human that I am going to have to take on her responsibility. And but at least she kept the kid. I mean, that's kind of like what we're saying about Ashley St. Clair. She is a dumpster fire of a human being as far as I'm concerned. I know Conservative Inc. loves her. Yeah. But I've got a bunch of girls at work who are like 18, 19, 20 years old, pregnant by their boyfriends, and it's like it's generation after generation doing this now as we get further out from Adam and Eve and just deeper into this sin nature that we have. And these people are just barely able to function in the world, and they're popping out babies. Yeah. And fathers aren't important anymore, and they're just going to send them off to daycare. And I just see this around me. I'm like, okay, well, the one thing about living here in Texas, the girls don't abort their kids, but they just send them to daycare, to strangers, and they just don't think anything of it.
Right. Yeah, it's and that's part of what makes the case for abortion. You got these girls who are having these kids, they don't treat them right.
Yes.
It's like, wouldn't the kid be better off aborted? That's the logic to it.
Yeah.
Or you see some of these women, who are just, twisting their kids up. They're abusive mentally, physically, and it's like the kid be better off dead. Yeah. That's these things, they make a case for that. And don't get me wrong, y'all, me playing devil advocate is hardly me in agreement with it. But and thank you for doing what you're, because you have a lot of these mothers, they take the issues that they have out on the kid from the father abandoning, the things that they're upset about with, the sperm donor, if you will. they take those things out on the kid.
Yeah.
And that's been going on for, with a great percentage of the population for decades.
Yeah.
And this ain't a new thing. It's been going on for thousands of years, y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing is, they do take that stuff out on their kids, and at the same time, they just buy their kids whatever they want to buy their love and to get them to stop, whining and crying because they're single moms and they have no more patience and they're run ragged.
Yeah. But like I said, y'all, what you end up with a very insecure kid.
Yeah.
That's what we've had for decades. Insecure kids
Yes.
growing up into adulthood, and then they have kids, and it's just much worse.
It's
Okay?
worse.
But the thing that we don't promote is, look, man, you got to take that to the Lord. And unfortunately, man, there's a lot of hucksters, claiming Christianity. It's counterfeit Christianity. Which is where do you go? I get it, man. Where do you go? And I would like to think that, as our other presentation, the Zopium Den is a place where you can come to and you can find out who the Lord is for who he says he is and get the real security of his word that builds the integrity in us. But content like me, the godless out there, they don't want it seen. Conservative Inc. don't want it seen. Big tech don't want it seen. The liberals or whatever this brand of conservatism, they don't want it seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
They would rather you see people like, Ashley St. Clair. They'd rather you see people like her.
Yep.
Okay, they'd rather put out their heathens and whatnot because it's all about big tent conservatism. They think that's what's going to win the day. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, man, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. Zacked Out, who just found you again.
What's up,
he
Zach?
said he enjoyed your PJTV stuff.
Thank you.
He said, I work with older 35 to 55-year-olds, highly educated women who are juggling it as single moms or co-parents. They voice their problems at work, and the mommies are not okay. And I wanted to read this comment because when I was younger and I was working in a corporate job, and I was surrounded by women in an accounting department, and they were all about 30s, 40s. They were moms, they were working full-time, good jobs, and they were all absolutely miserable, awful to work with because they didn't want to be there. They wanted to be raising their kids. Some of them had dads that stayed home and raised the kids, and you could just tell it just ground down their nerves, ground down their nerves every day. And it was one of those jobs that made me see the fault with feminism because I wasn't real liberal or conservative yet, but I saw how miserable these women were, even though they were all, corporate job havers and doing well. They were miserable because they just wanted to be home.
Sure, yeah. And the thing is, like, they're miserable because they're working, chances are they're working for some man. They didn't want to be at home listening to their husband, so they go and they work and listen to some other man. It's like, okay. As the word of God says, hey, be submissive to your own husband. You'll be much happier. And it's a mutual submission, y'all, before the feminists get all, it's like, no, husbands my wife has authority over my body, I have authority over hers. Okay, it's a mutual submission. I'm to love my wife sacrificially, and she is to respect me. That's the word of God. And if you do that together, y'all, you'll be a compliment to each other. You'll be so much happier.
Right.
But all feminists see is that as a man trying to dominate. It's like our dominion isn't for being domineering. It's more for protection.
Yes.
Really. Okay. And so we can go, and so we can be fruitful, so we can grow and make the world a better place.
Yes, exactly.
But you got this narrative out there. It's all about being fathers, dude. It's not about being. If you got the narrative, it's so important to be a father. When you just have males, really, not even men, just males going out there and fathering kids.
Yep.
And then making up. And if you're gonna do that, then you'll make up what it is to be a good father. And trust me, you're gonna fail. You will fail at what it is to be a good father according to your own ideas.
Oh, yeah.
It takes being husbands. You got to start with that solidarity. Listen to the word of God. Be a husband. Be the head of your household, the priest of your household. Okay? So, but that's not what's important.
Right.
Yeah, what's important is that we have a good economy and have an economy that's so good that there's so many jobs available for women. That's not a good economy.
Yeah, I wish he'd stop saying that.
Yeah, the more women are working, that's not a good economy. A good economy is when the man can go to work, you know, and the household can live decently off of that. That's a good economy. Saying that both men and women and men and women are out there working, mothers going out there to work, there's work available for them and stuff like that. That's not a good economy.
No.
Yeah, and not only is not a good economy, it doesn't make for a good culture.
Yeah.
You just you're gonna have kids raised by other people. You know, that's why I trip out I'm a Gen Xer, man, but I gotta call it like I see it. You know, when Gen Xers are talking about Gen Zers and how screwed up they are and all that sort of stuff, and what the heck happened to you? You happened to them. Gen Z is your kids.
Yep.
Whether you either introduced stuff to them, you know, the divorces and things like that and whatnot. Look, I'm not judging. I was raised by a single mom too. I know the type. Okay, but you know, between that, sending them to public school, you know, if whether you were teaching them something or somebody else was teaching them something, that was our generation, baby.
Yeah.
And this is what we got. So stop sitting there and scratching your head and acting like this Gen Z just happened, right? They're your kids, all right? When we was, you know, back in the day when we were kids, we did this and we did that. We rode bicycles without helmets and, you know, and had jungle gyms with no mats on the floor. And we drank beer and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, okay, yeah, these are all the things you can boast in. You sure as hell can't boast in what happened to these kids, though. You didn't pass that greatness on to them.
Right.
Okay, whatever filtered down to them, yeah, that still came from us. Gotta own it. And so, yeah, this girl, the whole of Babylon, as they call her, of Babylon B. You know, that's not a good example. And you know, she's hooked up with Elon Musk, and you know, and this kind of stuff kind of scandals that we gotta, you know, go through. You got so much, man.
Yeah.
You know, you got so much. It's like, this is what you do with your, you know. I know you're doing great things with your money, man, but it's like this is like greedy.
It is.
It's greedy, man.
That's how I see it. Yeah.
You know, you're gonna go from woman to woman and have kids with them and stuff like that, and your kids can't see the solidarity of you know, you raising your kids to be like, okay, it's not really important. The role of the woman really isn't that important. Mm-hmm. That's what you're raising your kids to see. I don't know if you got sons and daughters, they're gonna see the same thing. Sons are gonna be like, well, the role of the woman is not really, she's basically, her role is to gratify me and to bear me a kid.
Absolutely.
But other than that, you know, she's not really that important.
I think one of the moms is.
Oh, and just really quick on the and that's for the girls too. My role as a woman.
Yeah.
Is not really that important. You mean my role is just to be able to bear somebody a kid and just get tossed aside, and then you wonder why we end up with these feminists,
yes,
who are resentful, you know, and hate the so-called social construct of these normatives. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what this. You know, are you going to be exempt from this, Elon? Are you immune? You don't think out of your 13 kids, something like that? So I think he's already got one that's trans.
Yep.
Yeah. It's already in your roost, man.
Yeah, that's what sent him going after the school system, because he was like, the school is what screwed my daughter up. Now she wants to be a boy. She thinks she's a boy.
Well, at least you know that. At least you know it's screwed up. You know?
Yeah.
And y'all, this can happen to married couples too.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Sure.
A lot of times these married couples, they ain't God-fearing couples, but the devil gets in. Okay, but the thing is, you at least have to have that foundation in place. Have that in place. You know, do your due diligence to have that in place.
Absolutely. I was going to say, I think one of the moms of twins or triplets is the CEO of Neuralink. It's like, come on, you got to have a lot in common with her. Why couldn't you marry her?
I know, right? Let's see. Now, let's get to Delta plane arriving from Minneapolis crashes in Toronto, flips upside down, at least 8 people injured. Let's read a little bit of this here.
It was very snowy.
Very snowy.
That's all the details I have so far. The runway was covered in snow.
It's like, did you forget to de-ice, cuz? What, did the ground crew not load you up with some de-icing agent and the wing got a little heavy and just kind of, it just kind of gives you a rollover or whichever? Come on, get out of my way, ad. All right, a Delta plane crash landed on a snowy runway at Toronto Pearson Airport in Canada, on Monday afternoon. Update. According to ABC News, at least 15 people are injured, including one child. ABC News reported 15 people, including one child, have been taken to hospitals, but none of the injuries are considered to be life-threatening, according to Peel Regional Paramedic Services. Orangey, I hope that's how that's said. Orange. Yeah, all right. Which provides medical transport, said these people suffered critical injuries. One child, a man in his 60s, and a woman in her 40s. The other 12 people taken to hospitals have mild injuries, Peel Regional Paramedics has said. Okay, so in terms of why this plane had crashed, don't know what caused the plane to roll over. Wow, and for that to land that way, whew.
Yeah.
You know,
There were 70 plus mile an hour winds as well.
Okay. I'm not sure which direction those winds would have been blowing in, for the aircraft to be, keep control, or how the pilot's going to keep control with the direction of the wind and stuff like that. You ever see like them pilots that if they got a broadside wind coming in, man, they got really coming in like sideways, man, they're, woo!
We
Right?
lived in Palm Springs International Airport. That was our airport.
Yeah.
And that was one of the windiest airports, at least in the United States, to land in. My parents would go out, and I think you and I did it a couple times, just watch planes try to land on a windy day. It was something else.
Oh yeah, it's like I remember when I was trying to get my pilot's license, and you got that wind blowing. You trying to it's like you got to get used to like steering with your feet and stuff like that, and you got to be careful. It's like do too much or too little, and you're just trying to keep the propeller, man, just looking down the runway. And it's like I want to use my hands. I'm trying to use my hands. Like, don't use your hands, just use your feet, right? And or even trying to land, it's like you can feel it. It's come on, man, line up, like so. With this person, to flip the aircraft upside down and then land it, it's like, how are you coming that to come in that way? I mean, I would think that you'd have to keep that really stable. I'm talking like come in very, very even. And you've got the vertical stabilizer is when that. I'm just trying to picture how this plane would come down. Like say for it's like if you don't bring it down right, that vertical stabilizer can kick that plane, kick the nose down. It's like you touch down and kick it down. That's bad for the cockpit. Or did he bring it down, like just in such a way, maybe did he come in and maybe hit like kind of like make it where the nose hit first? Well, it wouldn't be the nose per se because he's inverted. But it's like he would have to come down in a way where it doesn't put so much pressure on the front end of the plane to basically crush the cockpit.
Oh gosh.
I'm speculating, y'all. I'm by no means any sort of like physics expert. I'm asking, really. I'm asking. It's like, what do you guys think? How would he have to bring this thing down? That's a trip. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that they survived that ordeal. Now, we seem to be having, I think there's probably like, a pretty good number of airline incidences that we've had in the past few days. Is it one of those things? Are these things planned? Is it because of people being not qualified for the position that they have? Is it because there's a shortage of?
Well, according to the Democrats, they're saying it's because Trump eliminated DEI, and that's why all these plane crashes are happening. And he said, "I've been in here for 3 weeks."
Well, eliminating DEI. If you got people out there that are so more concerned about their sexual parts and stuff like that than they are about the working, parts of the airline industry. Well, then they needed to go as it was. I'm pretty sure, I'm quite sure that contingencies were put in place to make sure that different aspects of, the operation in terms of operating air traffic and mechanics and stuff like that are taken care of before you just say, get out. Those bases need to be covered. But it does seem quite suspicious. I mean, if Democrats are going to say it's because you've gotten rid of all that, sounds like you guys are talking retaliation.
Yeah.
Really,
right?
it doesn't sound like because there's an absence of a position. It sounds like you guys make it sound like this stuff is happening on purpose. Somebody taking out some issues on other passengers because they mad because we're not accepting this perversion anymore. And these people are that vindictive. They're that twisted up, to do stuff like this. Let's see. What else we got?
The firings.
Yes.
And they were also tweeting out a little bit today that, oh, well, now you're firing everybody, so it's going to be happening even more.
Okay, in a significant move, the Trump administration has initiated the dismissal of several hundred federal aviation FAA employees. He sent them packing without a return trip ticket. Oh, that's clever innuendo you put in there. This includes probationary workers in such as radar, landing, navigational aid maintenance, and early warning radar systems. Crucial positions that people's lives depend on. Were these positions filled with DEI hires. This action follows a fatal mid-air collision near Washington, D.C. There's been far too many airplane catastrophes, and finally we're seeing something being done about it, about aviation safety. But I'm not getting on a plane. Once they get a solid track record for a good long while, then I'll think about it.
Yeah.
I can dig it, man.
Agree.
Let's see. So the Associated Press reports the Trump administration has begun firing. So, okay, read that. Got it. Probationary period, got that too. The impacted workers include, got that also. What? Give me something I haven't read yet. I feel like I'm repeating myself. But yeah, I guess that would be the question. And I'm pretty sure that those contingencies are put in place. So you can't just go, canning people without making sure that certain posts are covered.
Yeah.
So I don't really know if that's going to be if that's an issue. Because I reckon that would be a pretty bad safety breach to do something like that. It sounds more to me like there was now I'm trying to use the word retaliation here, but seems like anybody who would be left in there to try to pull some retaliation kind of stuff seems like they'd be the kind of people who would have been fired. What's the vetting for the firing? How do they know which people to target for firing? How are they going? I'm asking. How are they going about deciding who's going to be fired? How are they gauging their job performance, or are they looking at their personal life? Are the people that they fired? Did they go look up their X and their Twitter or their Instagram accounts? Did they go look those up and see what their attitude towards America is? See what their attitudes towards DEI? Are they woke and all that sort of stuff? Are these the kind of things that they're promoting in the culture, which would make them suspect and more for doing this job? Obviously, they're more hung up. Their focus is more on this kind of nonsense than it is on doing their job.
Yeah.
And if you are a part of the kind of ideology that would lead people to do people harm, in this industry, then if you even smell of that, you got to go. What do you guys think? You think that might have something to do with the vetting process of who's going to get fired? Let's see.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I know they'll try to sue and say, you can't fire me on, the basis of sexual orientation. I know that one's covered now under the civil rights laws. But I know in all of these firings over all of these federal agencies, they're starting with the people who are on probation and going from there.
Okay.
And these people, I thought that he fired these people today. But he started sending them the notices Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And so there's going to be a whole lot of FAA workers locked out of the building tomorrow because today was a holiday.
Now these people, wanting to sue and stuff like that, sue for what? I want to be a pervert and you have to let me. It's like, when I go, you go to a restaurant or something like that and you want to sit down, it's kind of annoying when you gotta be served by, some girl who's got a big ring in her nose, and weird makeup and, hair dyed all kinds of colors and stuff like that. And look, y'all, I was that way when I was younger too. I didn't have a whole bunch of piercings and stuff like that, but
No.
I liked my wild style, back in the day. And but I have to realize, y'all, that it wasn't right. I guess at some point you grow up, and that's kind of hard to tell people, like when you're that age, because your individuality is just so important. But it's, it really comes down to two things. It's pride. But when people do these things, it's either because I really want attention or I want to be left alone. I know it's like you wear a bunch of loud stuff and stuff like that because it looks like you want attention. Some people really just want to be left alone. They don't, it's like, I put this on. This is basically my guard. I put on my guard is to let you know, keep your distance.
Yeah.
So people will do themselves up like that, like I said, either because they want to be left alone or because they do want attention. So, you go on these jobs and you feel like you're entitled. I'm an American, right? I'm an American. It's a free country. I have the freedom of expression. So you shouldn't be able to stop me from coming in, and I should be able to have all my piercings, and you have to hire me and whatnot. And in that selfishness, you don't consider that, yeah, dude, you have the right to be you, but I also have the right to property. I have the right to how my property is going to be represented. This is my business, this is my property. Okay, you don't have the right to just come in here and represent my business any old way that you want to. And guess what? That's on the clock or even off the clock. Yeah, that's right. Once you do your 9 to 5 and with all the social media and stuff like that, yeah, you work for my company and you're on social media and you're promoting a whole bunch of stuff that is a total conflict of interest of my company. Yeah, I can be like, yeah, you and your personal life is still reflective of my business. I still have the right, yeah, for even what you do off the clock, I have the right to say, you know what, you're not a good fit for this company. Now in terms of the airline industry and stuff like that, if you're in the FAA, that's a little bit different. But at the same time, it's not, because hey, this stuff is, it's taxpayer funded. You represent us. And now, don't get me wrong, because I know there's people out there who are paying taxes who are total perverts too, and they want to be represented, I guess.
Yep.
But if you're going into this business and we're concerned about people's safety, if you're going to go out there and show that you've got like this contempt against the American people and that you're supporting perversion and stuff like that, yeah, I wouldn't feel too comfortable with you working in the airline industry. Heck no, get out. Your mind is in the wrong place. So all that to say, y'all, I mean, people want to be free to be able to do them and do themselves. Like, do that when you can actually afford it.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it. You have a job and you want to be able to be you and all that sort of stuff. Your job involves other people. Your job involves, you're still a representative of that company. And it doesn't matter how, I guess, whether your job is an entry-level job or whether your job required a skill or something like that, you're still working for somebody per se. And you represent them. Don't be selfish and just feel like you can just represent yourself any old way that you want to. You can't do that. That's totally selfish, and that's not really what free expression is all about. That's a conflict between between the expression of the industry or the company that you're working for. All right? If you want to be able to do all that stuff, you got to be able to afford that. You got to have the kind of business where it's like you only pretty much answer directly to your customers who are okay with that sort of stuff. where you're not answering to a boss per se who signs your paycheck, where you don't answer to them. Okay, if you have to answer to somebody who signs your paycheck per se, then you shouldn't be like just trying to feel like you can express yourself any old way that you want to. Unless you are making the draw yourself, unless you're drawing from your own company, unless you're doing that, then go ahead and be as freaky as you want to be.
Yeah.
And you have customers who will pay you for that. Other than that, I wish I would have came to that conclusion maybe when I was younger. I didn't. It's just selfish. Just wanted to do me, and get hot chicks like the one I got. It kind of worked. Yeah. She saw me when I was flipped. She saw me when I was waving my freak flag.
Well, don't say it like that. You were certainly cute with your dreadlocks and your combat boots and your drumsticks.
Yeah.
I had a mad crush.
Rock and roll. So it's like, I know we're not making a good case for that because obviously it seems like kind of stuff. I married up, man. It worked for me.
You're too kind.
And here I am lecturing other people. It's like, man, you can't do that.
Sketchy says, in regards to how you were describing your wild look, the Lord was looking down like, Zoe?
Yeah, we're going to have to clean you up a little bit there, son. and praise be to God, it's like, he got us through that. And I guess that's all we can hope for, really. If I'm going to invest hope, I said, Lord, just come back. Just come get that's the fix. That's what it's going to take. But, hopefully some people just come to the conclusion that, you know what, and maybe a lot of people just don't. And there just needs to be enough people to say, look, man, we've done that. It's gonna cause a lot of problems, and it's a lot of problems to fix, man. It's like trust me, you'll do better. You'll be happier. All right. I know you want to be happy. You think happiness is just doing you and expressing yourself any old way that you want to. That happiness right now is gonna be followed by a long regret. It's short happiness followed by long regret.
Very true.
And the thing is, trying to get people to have that long view, it's hard, man. It's a hard sell. But you got to make the illustrations, though. Trying to reason and trying to lecture that sort of stuff. I think Bill Whittle says it best. You can't lecture your way out of what people were entertained into.
Oh, yeah.
It's trying to give the lecture on this sort of, and entertainment can come in different forms. Whether you're just entertaining the thoughts of it, whether you're entertaining your own self-expression, whether you were watching something entertaining and that got you into it. It's hard to lecture with. You got to be able to present something just as entertaining, something to entertain their mind, to convey the truth to them, just as much as they were out of it as they were entertained into it. All right. Let's see what else we got.
In regards to the firings, the mass firings, my college husband said, and we have to picture the Bob's voices from Office Space saying this. What would you say you do here? I was like, that is the best reference.
Hey, Pete, watch your cornhole, buddy. That's it. What else we got here?
That and Idiocracy are the best movies.
Okay, Elon Musk, DOGE team uncovers over 25 million people ages 100 ages 100 plus in Social Security database, some older than the Constitution. There are a lot of vampires collected in Social Security. Like I said, man, when it comes to Democrats, they just are vampires. Let's read a little bit of this here. And before I even get into it, thank you guys so much for tuning in on the YouTubes, on the bronzeserpentmedia.com, tuning in on Instagrams. Thank you guys so much. That's a great point, Kylie Marine. Even then, the owner works for the customers. That's right. Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter how big your business is, you still work for the customer. But I totally agree. I just, as we understand though, is that, but you need to be the one who is basically, making your own draw. When you're at that level and you've got your own, your own business, then you can go ahead and, and do whatever freaky stuff that you want, because you're pretty much doing it on your own dime. Even though you are dependent on a clientele, you're still representing your own business, Let's see. Roy says, it's not how you see the world, but how the world sees you. Yeah, it's great. You got to balance that out. That's right, Roy.
Yep.
We got Hubison, the shot Trod Haven. Hope I'm saying that right. Cali Marine. Got you already. Leo is the Almighty. Jesus the Almighty, but your handle is precious. Crazy Mexican and Sunday Drop. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. What's going on?
We got Restoring Heroes Project in the chat.
What's up, man?
And he says, American government was spending $50 million for condoms for foreign countries. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's... And people are mad. They're mad. Because we found stuff like that.
Right.
And when you have people... You got to understand. When we have that kind of money going to things like that, here's a Jimmy so you can go get your freak on, right? and woke and LGBT presentations and stuff like that, money going for all that. That's the kind of reason why. You see, that stuff is lunacy, and if you support that kind of stuff in industries like the airline industry, dude, once again, your mind just ain't in the right place.
Yeah.
Okay, and that stuff needs to be rooted out. Let me see. Get back. Come on, AdWord. Okay, so Elon Musk DOGE, his DOGE team, has unearthed jaw-dropping irregularity from the U.S. Social Security database. When I think like irregularity and like senior citizens, stuff like that, it just makes me think of a Metamucil commercial or something like that.
That's true, me too.
The numbers are truly mind-boggling. Over 25 million Americans registered age 100 and older, with some purportedly older than the U.S. Constitution itself. Late Sunday night, Musk tweeted a staggering claim accompanied by a table of ages, suggesting that the Social Security Administration might be paying out benefits to vampires. Okay, now, rhetoric aside, for what reason would Social Security, I mean, if they're paying out this money, who's intercepting it? I mean, now look, when it comes to Democrats, we know that the Democrats, they will tax the dead. They will take money. They will take votes from the dead. We know they do that. All right, they're necrophiliacs.
Yes.
But why would they keep it to where people would be receiving money? Okay, now, I'm asking, and now, of course, allow me to speculate. Who's intercepting, if this person is dead, who's intercepting those checks? Who's getting them?
I think that either they're, signing it falsely. What's the term?
Would it be? Well, it would be power of attorney because they're dead.
Signing it falsly.
Forging.
Forging them. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes there's a conservatorship where you'll get Social Security, like you're the caretaker of your mom or dad.
Okay.
And so it's basically signed, they'll still forge it, sign it over to the son or daughter, but the parent died years and years ago. So I know a few people who have tried to cancel the Social Security checks coming, and to no avail.
Okay, so now I would reckon it's still worth it for them to send out the Social Security checks because they tax those. People are still taxed on Social Security.
Yes.
So I reckon there's that.
Good point.
Now with the cost, would the taxes they get back from that still be make it attractive enough for them to still send out Social? So I mean, it's still stupid to tax. That's by the time you get taxed on Social Security, man, that's like a quadruple flipping tax,
right?
Man. I mean, you just taxed all over the place, and still gonna tax people on Social Security?
Yes, it's ridiculous.
So, I mean, do they do? But some people they're trying to cut them. But what about those who don't? I mean, are they basically maintaining these people on as a voting block? It's like, look, we'll keep those Social Security checks still coming to you. Just make sure that
I don't see why not.
You know who to vote for.
Yep.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That
the vampires can vote and still receive their Social Security checks for their family. members, I guess.
And I mean, I reckon there has to be something to it where the government is definitely benefiting, off the people for doing this. But
and they're lazy and bloated too.
Yeah, I mean,
security.
Like case in point, like on not the driver's license, but it's either on a driver's license or something with our paperwork that we have to have, like from the DMV or whichever. How long has it taken them to change your name to Rachel? They still haven't.
Yeah.
We've been married for 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years, because I went right to the DMV. When I got my new Social Security card, that's just what you do. You go to the DMV, and they still can't manage to change it from my maiden name.
Yeah. So it's like, I guess sometimes, the government will just drag their feet on stuff like this.
Oh, yes.
But what do you guys think? It said, now, according to the Social Security database, these are the numbers of the people in each age bucket. I wonder if that's supposed to say bracket, but bucket with the death field set to false. Maybe Twilight is real. And there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security, Musk quipped. So when you go and you look at this chart here, you'll, starting at about, now I'll go ahead and read it from age 110 to 119 because my great-grandmother lived to be 114.
That's true.
All right, so it's like, people living that long, it's like, yeah, sometimes they do.
I pray you have her genes strong within you.
Well, I pray that we're raptured long before that. But
that would be better.
Yeah, and if I do have those kinds of genes, you better not leave me here. I don't want to be. I still want to be chasing you. Come, girl.
With your cane.
Right. Right. So, 100. So we from ages 120 to 129. There's still 3 million. There's still over 3 million people getting a Social Security check. You're not going to find too many people living over 120 years old.
Yeah.
Now, on a side note, for those who try to say that the Bible is lying, because the Bible says that God is going to cut people's lifespan off at 120 years old. Well, there's been people who lived longer than that. The Bible even says that there were, even when God said it, my spirit's not going to contend with man, any longer. His years will be, capped out at 120. Well, there were still people living longer than 120 years old after that. It was gradual. Okay, it was a gradual thing to where their lifespan started to shrink.
Yeah.
And also, people living over 120 years old, that's not disproving the Bible about the 120-year mark. What it's proving is that people did live longer than 120 years.
Yes.
Okay, people lived almost 1,000 after this transgression of Adam, and man was mortal. People lived, almost 1,000. I think Methuselah, the oldest, 969 years old. So pushing up, close to 1,000 years. So if you see people living over 120 years, that just proves that people did live longer than 120 years. All right, so once again, the Bible didn't lie to you. But we got here people living over, they got people living over 360 years. One person, it's like, well, dang. For what reason, what benefit is it to the government to do this?
Yeah.
What it shows me, it tells me is that, how Democrats love to scare people into thinking that their Social Security is going to run out?
Oh, yes, all the time.
This is kind of showing that.
That's a good point.
If you guys got money like this to just throw around,
yep.
You just paying Social, you just throwing them checks out there? It doesn't look like to me Social Security is going to run out.
It is never going to end for you.
And it also, and this for sure, if we go ahead and back this up to people at 120, you're going to save a lot on Social Security as we go ahead and wax these numbers out and allocate those funds back to where it belongs.
Yes.
Now, Social Security, I'm not stumping for Social Security, y'all. I ain't stumping for Social Security. Putting in Social Security, that was like the coffin nail, for planting the seeds of socialism in America. Okay, we weren't supposed to have that. Socialism and that kind of stuff, that started setting in a while before that. But this is like this was like, throwing some nitrous in it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? People should be in the habit of trying to make their nest egg.
Yeah.
You know, and don't get me wrong, man. I ain't trying to judge or lecture or anything like that. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm all fantastic at it either. But Matt, let me walk that back. It ain't so much that we're bad at it. It's just that I think a lot of people are dealing with the kind of economy that just makes it very difficult.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
And if you have any sort of health problems, you could forget about retirement.
Yeah, which of course that's where the liberals would make their argument. Well, that's why we need universal health care. And it's like they don't understand. It's like, well, for you, universal health care makes it even harder to save money because that money is already taken from us before we could save it and put into the things that you think that America should be entitled to.
Yeah.
You know, we're not supposed to pay for these things this way. And it should, and the government shouldn't be making it hard for us to save, to do things. You know, you want to try to invest, the dividends are light because, because of all the uncertainty and stuff. It's like, come on, man. You know, people could do it, man, if the government would just get out of the way. But you got a whole bunch of covetous people out there who want us to be on this kind of system because their idea of security is making sure that other people have to pay into their insecurities. You know, that's where we're at. And we weren't set up to be that way. That's not what we're supposed to be.
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
I think Paul talks about, how it's supposed to work. Basically, when you're older, your children can take care of you. And if you're a widow with no children and you really are like destitute, the church is supposed to take care of you.
Yeah. And because and that's the thing about it, your kids, and I actually, maybe let me save that. I'm going to save that for the Zopium Den. I'm going to save that for the Zopium Den because there's a dynamic of how it's like the kids aren't, your offspring aren't supposed to make these investments for, it's the parents that are supposed to be doing this for the kids. It's not supposed to be the other way around, but there's more context to it than that. It just popped in my head and I'd like to explore it.
So what should I write down for tomorrow for remembering that?
Actually, if you put in Corbin.
Corbin. Okay.
I'm not exactly talking about Corbin, the sanction, the ordinance of Corbin, but at least it'll jar my memory.
Okay.
Let's see. Now let's get into where my page at? RFK. No, yeah, is that RFK? Man, we got a lot of articles here. Okay, so RFK addresses spiritual crisis in America. Yeah, just like I talked about a little bit earlier, and that's true. But one thing you got to make clear, it's the R. The thing that you got to make clear, man, is what is the elixir? What's the elixir of the spiritual crisis? What's the answer to it? Would you prescribe Jesus according to who he says he is? Because that's what it takes. Because and spiritual crisis is very true because you got a lot of people out there, who'll say that America is less religious than it's ever been, which is not true.
Yeah.
America's more religious than it's ever been. Just because and religion doesn't mean holy. Religion doesn't mean that you believe in Jesus. You can have a religion of, you got these rainbow banners. That's a religion too. Mm-hmm. All that sort of wokeism. That's all religion. Okay. These people are believing something that, they're just going off of faith. There's no real science to it. Now one would say, well, Zoe, are you saying that's what faith is not having any science? No, not exactly. You can have all the science in the world. You can have all the evidence and you can have the proof. But if you don't have you can choose to not believe it or not. That's why the Lord was so big on faith. It's about faith because I am the truth incarnate. I am the embodiment of truth, but you don't believe it. So even if you have all the evidence right there in front of you, it's still going to be a point of faith on whether you're going to, accept it or not. That's why it just comes down to faith. And you do have a lot of people out there who are religious and people who are spiritual. It does not mean it's holy. And that's a problem that we have here in America. More and more. I'm glad that RFK understands this. He's flat out saying, man, this is more than your health. It's even this goes deeper than that. And I totally agree. your spiritual well-being is going to have a lot to do with your physical well-being. If your soul ain't right, it's going to affect you. It's going to toxify your body. Okay. When people are given over these things that people are given over to, they do become physical conditions. They do become inflammatory issues. It's basically like having I'm not really good with electronics, but maybe to try to give an example, it's like having a incorrectly rated capacitor or something like that. If you got the wrong amount of current going into the apparatuses, you burn it out. Okay, and it's like when you have these anxieties that we got, people like just popping anti-anxiolytics, antidepressant pills, going to therapy. Alcohols, trying to self-medicate, weed. All that sort of stuff, man. You got people just doing all that sort of stuff. They just checked out, right? And you putting these things in your body, that's a spiritual issue. That's pharmakia. These people are given over to sorcery. They're given over to these things to try to put themselves into some sort of trance. That's what pharmakia means. It's sorcery. It's witchcraft. And that's what these people are into. That in itself, y'all. These are potions. They're not just prescriptions. They're potions, and they keep people under a spell. Pharmakia has taken over. So, when you got saying that people are feeling disconnected, right? I wonder if he understands the depth of what that is. This disconnect that people are feeling. Well, as I've long tried to share with folks, Yeshua, Jesus, is not just he's not just king, he's high priest, right? He's our high priest, and he's also, which puts him in Levitical lineage. And the name Levi means connect. That's what it means. Connect, attach, together. So don't you think it's kind of strange that the more people get away from Jesus, the more disconnect we're experiencing? People are just full on disconnected, even while they're on their device to connect with people. The more people assume to connect with people with this device, the more disconnected they are, right? They look at this more than they look at the Word of God. Jesus is our connector. He's our connector to Salem, right? He's our connector to Jerusalem, the city of peace, the place of peace, the peaceful zone, right? It's where he is. He connects us to that, but people don't feel like they're at peace. They're totally insecure and given over to pride and more disconnected. So yeah, RFK, yeah, you're right. So when you talk about being disconnected, what's the connector? Who's the connector? Well, I offer that's Jesus. But the problem is we got a lot of people, who are sharing Jesus in a way that's not implicative of him. This is like, man, you ain't talking about Jesus. Whatever it is that you guys are talking about, man, that ain't Jesus. Which leads me to, Kelsey Grammer, sharing Jesus with old Cheers bar buddies in an incredible interview. I don't know where Kelsey is. I mean, I pray for all these cats that they receive the Lord's peace and truth. Amen. Just the thing one of the things that Kelsey says is that with his experience, and y'all, when people talk about this experience, this encounter, with Jesus, stuff like that, that kind of stuff has me suspicious from the get-go. If Jesus talks to you or shows up and visits you, or you find Jesus is sitting next to you or something like that, chances are he's there to kill you. Jesus ain't making some special trip. Jesus not making some special trip to just show up and talk with you, okay? When Jesus comes, he's be coming to kill people. All right. When Jesus shows up, it's gonna be like a big evac. All right. It's gonna be a serious rescue mission. But Jesus to make a special trip to show up and just talk to somebody, I don't know about that. something gonna happen. It's gonna hurt. All right. Like say for instance, Jesus showing up to meet Paul, knocked them all down, man, and Paul was blind, but Paul's like, Jesus, I got a mission for you. Okay. And that was a commission for Paul. Jesus just showing up to make a special visit for us. And don't get me wrong, Jesus is an ultra nice guy. But for him to just show up without, and if Jesus shows up to talk to you, if he's not there to kill you, it's going to be to put you on a mission. And that mission is going to be very, very, very uncomfortable. All right, that's just according to the scriptures that we've seen. It's gonna come with some trials, baby. It ain't gonna tickle. Okay, so when people talk about they had an encounter, they met with Jesus and stuff like that, you got to be able to verify that. I can't just come before you and be like, Jesus, he came to visit me, and that's dishonoring Jesus, man. It's dishonoring Jesus. Okay, Jesus came and I felt the touch, and I felt this and I felt that, and and I was in tears and all that sort of stuff. Y'all, you can't verify that. I could not verify that to you. All right, God has a protocol in place of how you verify. It's not verifiable anymore. We don't. The temple's gone to be able to make this kind of verification, for one. Okay, but God does not just come and give somebody this personal experience and whatnot, and then you go and proclaim it to other people, and you have no way to verify that. That invites scrutiny against God. So we shouldn't do things like that. Now, if it's one of those things where you're talking about, look, man, I was reflecting on the scriptures, and I came to tears because of what I was reading, and I could really see the Lord in that. That's something totally different, because the Lord does speak to us through his word. His word is living, it's breathing. All right, but to have this presence and this audible experience or visual, come on, man. No. And there's a lot of people who believe stuff like that, and they'll go and they'll tell people stuff like that. And it's like, no, you can't verify that. It has to be verifiable. So I guess, and so when Kelsey was talking about, his experience with his sister being murdered.
Yeah. And,
and I guess in coming to grips with that, I reckon that was part of his come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, because he said he carried around a lot of anger and rage and bitterness, and it made him drink. And yeah, so it was a long coming to Jesus moment about that, because he was so angry about what happened. And
so in that, with him giving his life to Jesus, well, I don't know if you really gave your life to Jesus, because you had some indiscretions following that. Nobody's perfect, we understand that, but if giving your life to Jesus is not reflective of the indiscretions that you got into. We gonna make mistakes, dude. If Jesus, understand what I'm saying. If Jesus is your portion, then you should have just been satisfied with that. But somewhere the Lord, El Shaddai, whose name means the mighty and sufficient one, wasn't sufficient enough for you, and you got greedy and you went into your indiscretion. All right, so the Lord wasn't Lord of your life, really. Yeah. Okay, and so it's a process, man. It's a process, but I can't say that you were there yet, because like I said, if you say that, hey, I've accepted Jesus, then one of the things that shows that you've accepted Jesus is that you're no longer greedy. You found, as the Lord says, you have found that real food, man. You have found that real drink, which means that you shouldn't be running out there looking for something else to quench your thirst and looking for something else to satisfy your hunger. Yeah. You greedy, man. You went out there looking for something else to fill the void, man, to satisfy your appetite. When Lord, I'm that bread of life, man. I got you. All right. You're married. I told you that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. You making me out to be a liar. You didn't find a good thing in your wife. You went looking for something else. You see what I'm saying? So you making me out to be a liar all day, cuz I don't think you're really following me. So those kind of things, man, it's like it's suspect, and I don't know. I haven't really tuned in for what Kelsey Grammer is up to nowadays. I'm just saying that, when you go to follow Christ, we always gonna struggle with sin, man. Sin is just we're human. We always gonna struggle with that, and people gonna slip in certain places. But I don't know if he's given a message of repentance. I repented and I've realized, I don't know if he's done that. And those are things that you got to make. You got to declare those things. Yeah,
I don't think he has. I don't think he understands like the true gospel.
Right.
I don't see any evidence of it, and I'm not saying, oh, he's a bad person because of that. There's hope for him because at least he's open.
Yeah, that's right. Make his name known.
Yeah.
And share it with your friends. But in terms of, have you? Are you sure that you still haven't accepted Jesus according to who he says he is? Not according to what you want him to be, but, have you read? Have you read his word, and studied it? Because like I said, you take things like this and you make a God, of your own choosing, call him Jesus. That's just idolatry. You have to, I don't know if he's walked those things back and said, look, man, I was wrong. I was wrong to do that. I beg for the Lord's forgiveness because that's, the Lord forgives upon repentance.
Yeah.
You got to declare it. And if you're going to go out there and be sharing, about this sort of stuff. So anyway, but I hope, he's at least he's come out of the religious, Christian Science.
Right, yeah.
At least he's come out of that.
And he might be a little leery because he was raised in it. And he might be a little leery of opening up the Bible and reading it. And in that sense, I can't blame him. But if you want to know Jesus, that's where you're going to get to know him.
Yeah. Word. Okay, so let's see. What else we got here? Modern day Jonah. A whale gobbles up a kayaker on video, then spits him back out, still alive. Whoo, man. Now, I think I'm claustrophobic. I have not found out like the hard way that I'm claustrophobic, but like really just being, locked up and just freak out. But yeah, I find myself getting kind of, hey, I'm pretty uncomfortable, man. It's like I need some air. I need to breathe. Yeah, it's like yeah, that right there, man. Just some jaws just come and clamp around you, and it's like, yeah, that'd be a long 3 seconds, baby. Woo! So fortunately, this modern day Jonah was spit out. And now, speaking of which, now. Concerning this whale's physiology,
yes,
this could be like where people want to exercise a gotcha moment, and saying that Jonah couldn't have been swallowed by a whale because look at this, a whale's, and maybe it's this particular breed of whale. I don't know if this is all whales, but considering this. But sometimes they'll cherry pick stuff like that. They don't make it out to be the whole, right? Make it out to be the whole thing. And but the esophagus is too small. Yeah. It's only about the size of a tennis ball, and from there, even if it expanded, it's still just not big enough for a human,
right?
To get down in. So the Jonah and the whale story must be false. Okay. Jonah and the whale, one. It's only the reason why you may have translations put the term whale in there is because it's basically trying to get a person to understand that it's a very large fish, a very large marine animal. Okay? In Hebrew, the Bible doesn't say that it was a whale. In Hebrew, the word is, oh my goodness, what's the word that's used? Dag. The word used for Jonah and the whale, the word is dag. And that means, it just means fish. However, now notice that Jesus, he makes sure that he feeds the 4,000 and 5,000 with some bread and some fish. Okay. Now, fish, by the way, is a very keto-friendly food. If anybody's on the keto diet, fish is a very keto-friendly food. And it just so happens in Greek, the word for fish is ketos, Ketos, right? So it is a keto-friendly food. But ketos, in Greek, when Jesus recounts the story of Jonah and the whale, in the Greek, it's going to be ketos, and it does refer also to a whale. In the Greek, ketos can imply a whale, a very large sea creature. Okay, fish from a fish to a whale, so it's a large sea creature. In Greek, in Hebrew, the word is dag. It's spelled dag, but it may be pronounced dog or something like that. You know, my Hebrew sucks. But this is interesting though, because dag is most likely where we get the word, the term Dagon. Even though Dagon is not a Hebrew god, but you know, Hebrews being given over to a lot of pagan worship at the time, like say for instance Samson, when they were dealing with the Philistines, when Samson destroyed the temple, that temple that he destroyed and was killed in was the temple of Dagon, and Dagon means fish god. Yeah. So now remember, y'all, Jesus says, or Samson is saying, let me die with the Philistines. So just kind of give you guys like a side note of the whole Palestine conflict thing. Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. Okay, and this is a picture of Christ. Philistines, the word Philistine comes from the term Palash, where we get the term Palestine from. Philistine and Palestine mean the same thing. Okay, and the word really means butthurt. It means to wallow in misery is what it really means. And they some miserable people, ain't they? Okay, so Jesus is in the same area where Samson was. Okay, this is an area, what did David call the Philistines? Uncircumcised? Who's this uncircumcised Philistine? Well, when you have Samson who says, let me die with the Philistines, and he destroyed the temple of the fish god. Okay, Jesus, this is a picture of Jesus who's going to die in Palestine. And he's going to die with the Philistines. Why? They're Palestinian Jews. They're not Philistine per se, but they're Palestinian Jews. Why are they Palestinian Jews? Because the emperor addressed them by who they were subjugated by. They were subjugated by the uncircumcised, just the way David had said. Who's this uncircumcised Philistine? That's why they're the Jews in Palestine, subjugated by the uncircumcised. And that's where Jesus was executed, died with the Philistines. Same way Sam said, let me die with the Philistines. Okay, so Jonah and the whale, y'all, or in the Greek, it's like it kind of more leans towards a whale, but in Hebrew, it's fish. Now it doesn't matter, y'all, because even if it was a whale, Jonah could still be swallowed by it. Why? The word says that when Jonah descended, it said that Jonah descended to the roots of the mountains of the deep, right? That's how far down Jonah sank, which means he was probably crushed under the weight of the water. So whatever fish was down there, I reckon whales can swim, pretty deep, deeper than humans can. And at that depth, if a whale wanted him like a nice Slurpee snack, that's what he got, and that would fit down his throat hole. Ew. Okay, that's gonna fit. So, but I don't know if that's a particular would be particularly appetizing for a whale anyway. So a fish, basically finding it some deep water chum, might find that appetizing. But Jonah was destroyed. Jonah was crushed under the weight of it. If you're sinking down that low, where you're sinking down to the roots of the mountains of the deep, You crushed. Okay? So Jonah was dead. He was good and dead. Now, you got a lot of people out there who don't believe that Jonah was dead. A lot of Christians don't believe that Jonah. He was alive because he was saying prayers and stuff like that. That doesn't mean anything. Did not the blood of Abel cry out to the ground to God? The blood of Abel was still speaking. So yes, God still hears. He still hears those who call out to him, live or dead. You do have those who are dead in Christ. Lord still hears. All right. Jonah was dead. That's the whole point of Yeshua illustrating the resurrection narrative. Okay, if Jonah wasn't dead, then, what's the point of talking about the resurrection? Okay, Jonah was dead, crushed, slurped up. But anyway, yeah. So anybody trying to say that, this proves that Jonah couldn't have been swallowed by a whale or anything like that, it's like, no, he was still swallowed by a large fish, and he was dead, and he was resurrected. Jesus called Jonah out by name, which means this is not allegory.
Yes.
This is a real account in history. Okay? And that's and understand, y'all, Jonah is a historical account. It's not legend or it's not a fable, it's not a tale, it's not allegory. Real thing. Real stuff. All right, what else we got here? Last one. I think this is the last article we're going to do tonight. Man, talk about fish, man. I surely want some.
I know. Some blackened salmon.
Whoa! Want to be a racist woke person? Get ahead. Start with this tip from New York Times. Okay, let's read a little bit of this. Tripe. Let's see. Come on, Tripe, load up. It's that time again, folks. Time to remind you that the New York Times is, that's the editorial. Basically saying that this is satire, but it's just so absurd that it just might as well be considered satire.
Yes.
But I guess let's just get down to the nitty gritty of it. Basically, to prove that you're not racist, you need to date outside your race. Particularly if you're white, if you're a white dude, you need to date a black woman. Okay.
It was a guy who wrote this question in, and he was asking, will it make him more anti-racist if he wants to prioritize dating colored women? And will it make him more anti-racist and optimize his character more?
No, it won't. It's like, this thing about, white people using black people to make themselves seem like better people.
Ew.
Have you guys seen that video? There's a video of this woman, she's chanting and she's all colored people and lesbians and LGBT and people of color and Asians, and she's just giving this cringe, but she's serious, man. She's out there. And I put out a tweet, and I think it went over a lot of people's heads, and I guess a lot of my stuff does. I said, this is what white supremacy looks like.
Oh yeah, nobody got that.
I don't think people understand. People probably just, took it as, I'm this black person taking a dig at white people. It's like, no, I'm dead serious. This is what white supremacy looks like. You have this woman out there thinking that she needs she is what it takes. People like her is what it takes in order for black people to make it.
Yes.
We have to have hero white people like her, right? Who's going to get out there and she's going to sing for the Asians and for the Latinos and the and for the blacks. We need her because without her, we don't stand a chance.
Right.
She has to sacrifice her standing of being a member of the white community that is superior. I have to relinquish my stage of supremacy in order for you to have a chance. Oh, black people. Oh, you poor black people.
All the inferiors.
All the inferiors. Unless we step down from our stage of superiority, you will not make it. Do you understand why I'm saying that this is the face of white supremacy? She thinks that she's even better than you, white person. She's the best kind of white person. She is what white people are meant to be. You understand now why I say that this is what white supremacy looks like? But a lot of people, they're so triggered now that they can't really understand. They can't really see the true nature of it. You can't see it. All that to say, y'all, you got white people like this. They use black people to try to make themselves look more. It's like going back to the flipping Sally Struthers commercial.
Yeah.
And people didn't know. And I was I was saying this back in the 80s. In the 80s, when I was a kid. And even and going into the 90s, I'd be telling people, it's like, dude, you guys are you see these commercials, man. They put out all these commercials are about is one to make white people, these white liberals, and I wasn't even about the whole liberal conservative vibe back then, but I could see it in that, and I hadn't really come into to where I was a default Democrat, if anything. But even then, I was like, man, this is some propaganda to make it look like black people are just these people who can't make it unless some white person comes in and helps them, and it just keeps the perspective of black people just looking like we're just these starving, hungry people who just don't know how to make our way through life.
Yeah.
This isn't about save the children and help the people and help the hungry. So that's not what this is for. And they're all like, oh, come on, man. Yes, it is. They're trying to do a good thing. They're trying to help. It's like, dude, that's not what this is about. It's not going to help them. All it's about is to make black people look like they're helpless and feeble-minded, and just don't know where to go where the food is. Like Sam Kinison would say, go where the food is, right? They don't know where the food is. And then you have like this white heroine who's just there to show them the way and to make sure that they get food, because if she doesn't, they won't be able to make it themselves. Like, get out of their way.
Yes.
Or if anything, here's what you could do. Instead of trying to be a stump for foreign aid and stuff like that, as Sam Kinison said, show them where the food is.
Yes, and show them how to duplicate it.
Yeah, and not only that, get the despots who rule over them out of their way so they can, y'all. It is even a point of showing them where the food is. Get the despots out of their way. Hell, that's what needs to be done so these people can go ahead and thrive on their own. They really could. They really could. But that's not the approach that we take. So between that and you got Democrats who always want to make it look like, oh, they care about, if you want to show that you're a really good white person, you got to show that you care about those lowly black people. That's the standard. That's when you've really reached the pinnacle. When you can share that you can even care about a black person. Oh, well, you're a saint. That's what all this stuff is. And there's, if you can show that you're open-minded and open-hearted enough to even dare to date a black woman, oh, you're a special kind of human being. That's what you are. You're special, right? You're made up of shit. You're just made up of some stuff that I don't know.
To prove your point that you're not exaggerating about these white liberals, the ethicist who answered this man's question starts out their answer saying, your devotion to self-improvement is impressive, like a dish of quinoa and kale that you may once have forced down and now actively enjoy. A woman of color, could you think, raise your game? That's written wrong. You think it could raise your game supplying something like anti-racist roughage?
Yeah.
That is awful.
Yeah.
That is clearly racist and bigoted.
Yeah. It's like, you're going to say those things. And the thing is what's lumped in with this? To give an example of once again, how the Democrats and the liberal-minded use black people for this narrative. It's the same thing. It's like, you got to show that you're not racist by dating a black woman. You got to show that you're not transphobic by dating a trans man or woman or whatever. You see what I'm saying? You see how they use black folks for this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
That's how they usher in stuff like this, So according to this narrative, that's what you're not racist. The point is not about being racist. Like, look, man, let me put it like this. People have preferences. I can totally understand that. All right, people have preferences in terms of what nationality that they'll date, whether they want to stay inside their own persuasion or if they want to date outside of it. I understand people may have persuasion as far as that go. But to reject, and that's not exactly what this is, but just let me say this really quick. To reject somebody just because of their national persuasion, that's stupid. Okay, that's dumb. No, I don't want to date this person because this person may be, a genuinely lovely person, and a person's national persuasion doesn't dictate what's beautiful or not. There's attractive women of every nationality, and there's ugly women of every nationality. That's not the issue. If a person you find attractive enough, their eye shape or their skin tone doesn't hold much bearing to that. For some people, it does. And I understand that. Or let me say, some people may prefer a certain eye shape or a skin tone over another. That's totally understandable. People have a right to their preference. But like I said, if a person is rejected, like, I would never date that. Then that's dumb. Okay, because you're putting that over a person's character. Yeah. Especially if that person is a person of God, if that's a woman of God, or if that's a man of God, you really shouldn't pass that up over a national persuasion. But in this right here, I mean, I guess, maybe this is what my wife had to do to prove that she's not racist? Am I quinoa and kale to my wife? Right. Am I something that she just, has to grin and bear? But I'm not a racist, or is it the same thing for me? I mean, I understand that I'm the lucky one in this relationship. She's the better half, and I'm the lucky one. I really mean that, right? But it's like, that's not why. Nope. Right? That's just not the bottom line of it. And I think really to show, if according to their narrative, if you really want to show that you're not racist, you just let it be. If you happen to, if it's not one of those things where I got to seek this out, and I have to do this according to this idea. Well, that's forced, man. It's not organic. It's not genuine. Yeah. Man, if you happen to be at work or something like that, and you end up with a coworker who happens to be black or something like that, and you guys are on each other's frequency, then that would be more proof that you're not racist. But to make yourself get into a relationship to prove that, it's like you're already seeing this person. You can't even see this person as a person or a woman. You're seeing their color. You're hung up on that. And then from there, you're going to have to prove to yourself that you can accept it. That's racist. Right? So, yeah. We're still going through this stuff.
Yeah, I almost feel sorry for this poor Democrat who wrote in and got this advice. Yeah. It's
just going to take the Lord to come back to set
yes.
this. Come on, Lord, just yank us on up out of here, because obviously we're just not getting it. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And on a side note, your prayers are still appreciated. I know that I kind of, just in case anybody might be wondering, hey, Zoe, what's up with that invention that you're working on? I know that I was trying to get it done by the end of January. Still working on it. It's a process, y'all. There's the time that you hope to get it because it looks right. It's like, okay, everything looks good. And then you try to go ahead and manifest it, and then there's going to be some complications when it comes out in the physical world. One of the problems is that because it's small, we had to scale it down to fit into the printer. So the parts, gravity itself doesn't affect the parts like it should. Because the parts are small and they're so light.
Physics.
Yeah, it's just in physics. Those are things to overcome. But prayers, hopefully that I'll be able to have something to be able to show that it's a proof of concept. I did a cardboard workup of it. It works. It works. I just wanted to have it printed where it's more solid, and not janky and stuff like that. Where I got a really legit proof of concept here. So hopefully I'll be able to let you guys in on it pretty soon, and it'll be God willing, it'll be a game changer for real if I can get this thing on the market. It's gonna indeed be a game changer.
I know it will be for me and my needs,
and which is part of the inspiration for it. It's like it's one of the reasons why I wanted to develop it, and You know, it's like, wow, well, thank you, God. Yeah, this is it's so simple, but it is something that is definitely needed. Okay, a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, dude, where has that been all my life? I've been needing that. I know that's what a lot of people say about their inventions, you know, and stuff like, and you know, and they may not fall through or whichever, but I think this is one of those things. Is like, yeah, dude, yeah, been needing something like that. All right, so. BronzeSerpentMedia.com. Hope you guys, if you haven't become a member, hope you do show up, become a member there, populate the powwows. It ain't gonna cost you nothing. Just a couple clicks of your time, just about an email. That's about it. I ain't gonna be spamming you and all that sort of stuff. So that, drop that buck in the bucket to help keep your bro Zoe on the go, and you know, help us keep the lights on and all that good stuff.
What time is your show tomorrow, the biblically based show?
That is going to be the Zopium Den at 7 p.m. Central. Hope you guys come there and boogie down. Let the Lord boogie on your brain with his holy writ, mind-blowing stuff. I hope you guys find that the Zopium Den, we do it different, you know? Different, delightfully different, but trying to stay squared up with the word. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You have a groovy rest of your evening. See y'all again soon. Bye.